Hi everyone, and I'm Beatrice, and I was a MSc Light and Lighting students, and here is my dissertation's topic. Thanks for the invitation for this presentation, and oops, sorry. I would like to present my dissertations. It's about the lighting sensitivity between the neurotypical and neurodivergent populations using LED in the office. And my supervisor is Jemima and Peter, and also with Ruth. So I really thank you about this research, because this is the NDT. I worked with the National Development Team for institutions. They have a non-profit charity organization in the UK, and a special thanks for their sponsorship in this research. So here we go. About just a quite quick literature, about 50% of populations in the UK has been diagnosed as a neurodivergent. So it's an increasing number about the neurodivergent employees enter or in the marketing right now, because there are as a responsibility for the employer. They need to build inclusive or sustainability office environment for all employees. So that becomes a strong point that we try to understand more the neurodivergence and the differences between the neurotypical. So in the study I do is focus on autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and dyslexia. So because lighting is one of the quite important building environment or key factors we need to focus on. However, this is lack of guidelines and buildings design standard. We use the old version with the SLL standard code. We now is 300 to 500 for the workplace on the table. There are recently have the new PAS 6463 coming up with a guidance from the British standard institutions that's just come up last year. For about different lighting categories, what we focus on, as we know about them, is the illuminance. So the neurodivergent will prefer the lower illuminance, and they will quite feel easily to feel anxiety if the light's changing sharply. For color temperature, I think they will have headache or stress using so-called white light, probably 5,000 K. Flicker. There's a lot of numbers of research saying people will feel notice the flicker from the fluorescent lamp in 60 cycles electricity. So it's become one of the factors make them feel discomfort. And also glare is the other point that people think about the neurodivergent, or the neurodiverse actually feel the same about the glare issue, and also with the glare from the windows. So the hypothesis of the research sounds like there is a wide spectrum and more sensitive to light with responses who are neurotypical, and the neurodivergence would prefer a lower illuminance level. So based on the 4 categories like illuminance, flicker, glare, and there are more impacts on the neurodivergence most. So our research, for the research I did, we got 50 participants, 25 is the neurodivergence and 25 is the neurotypical. So we can see there is a split. See, there's a total 16 as the most ADHD large group in the studies. And they also will combine with the autism or dyslexia. So how is the experiment, how we do it? So we set up in the experimental room in Central House, the 4th floor in the UCL campus. We used the DALI's lighting system to control the track lights. I know the image, that's quite a lot, but actually we just use 2 of it. So we dim down the lights and we point out to the wall to try to avoid the glare issue we caused it. At the same time, the white paper will also block the daylight because we just want to focus on the artificial or electric light. We would try to avoid the daylight from the window, sorry. So there are 2 tasks what we need the participant do. The one is try to ask them which category will impact you most. We will explain in wording, or also like having an explanation for them, what will impact them. And the other one, we also provide 3 different illuminance level to ask them, and ask which level for them is suitable for them to in the workspace. And the other parts of the experiment, we set up 6 lighting conditions. There are 3 different sets of during the experiment in 90 seconds. For the first pattern will be like the scene A. I think I showed it in the graph here. The scene A means 90 seconds. During this 90 seconds, 500 lux would decrease slowly, steady, for the to 200 lux. In 90 seconds. And the B is a reverse way. That means it's going up from 200 to 500. And the other set of scenes like C and D, here is this like scene C, showing that during the 90 seconds, there are just only 30 seconds will increase or decrease during the 30 seconds. For the rest of the time, we just keep it steady in the original illuminance level. And for the E and F, we just keep in steady 500 and 200 lux. So what is going on with the light change? And actually, we were asking the participants sit on their position and ask them to read, or maybe just look at the picture. We try to find a picture books to let them relax, because for the participant, like their dyslexia, probably when they read a lot of wording, they will feel anxiety. So we try to avoid this issue. Becomes we have a picture book for them. Once you see there are a clicker on the table, once they feel the lights change, they just click the clicker and let us know which seconds or which is the point they trigger them to feel this changing. So and also you can see there are, of course, for the light scene, we will let the participant know the light scene start and finished. So as you can see, there are lux meter here. We need to check the illuminance level on the table during the experiment. So this is the one of the example. We try to have some 5 randomized order for 50 participants. Here's the one of the settings. So the blue area is the 1 minute break for the eye adoption. And you can see the red dots mean actually is an example showing once they filled it is the clicking time when they click it. So we try to compare every 50 participant, the response time during this different light scenes. So here is some selected results of the studies. Seems like this is the light scene for scene A, 500 lux decreased to 200 lux during 90 seconds. There is no significant result between 2 groups. The p-value, actually, if you can like lower than 0.05, that means it's statistically significant to show there are really difference between 2 groups. However, this is no any significant from the research for the neurodivergent and neurotypical. However, there are 5 of the ADHD out of 16 were missing the illuminance decrease, even though there's not a significant result, but it sounds like it's looked like a trend. For it should be more deeply investigated for the coming of future studies. This is one of the interesting result we found. This got a significant result showing the illuminance preference between 2 groups. There's a huge, there are 0.002. That means quite a lot of people choosing a neurodivergent. They're choosing lower illuminance compared with the neurotypical. Especially there are 200 lux. There's more. Yeah, there are difference, and also there's more choosing the lower illuminance compared with the neurotypical. So the limitation about the studies, I think this is the self-claimed, we don't, all participants come here and self-claims they are neurotypical or neurodivergent. That becomes, it's not 100% can ensure they're neurotypical. Actually, it's not a neurodivergence. And actually is, you can from the numbers, there are lack of a huge number for to see that any trends for testing for hypothesis. And also with any different people of their self-questionings of on the effects of multitasking is also affected to the study. And also with the medical treatments, because there's some probably ADHD participant will take a medicine for during their daily life. It will also impact for the studies. So for future, a portable experiment setup is recommended, especially asking the autistic participant try to come to UCL is not that easy. They try, a few of them just not so sure, then they're just denied to come. And also for the computer-based, this study we just test about the paper base is not the computer base. So this paper is also should investigate it. And also the specific one neural disorder will be also one of the with larger sample size will be useful. And even though now we tested about 200 lux is the one they prefer, but how about lower than 200? Probably 100 or 50 would be the one we still need to test on it. So the conclusions are really quick one. So it's just a really increasing number for neurodivergence populations in the daily life or in the labor market. As however, we have no significant result between the neurodivergent and neurotypical. But I'm sure there's a one step forward about how to test about they prefer like 200 lux for the illuminance in their office, and also subgroup and neurodivergence group should be more investigated, and also try to build sustainability and also with inclusive working environment, dimming system in lighting it should be used. So here is the bibliography. So thank you for having me today. Welcome for question. Please send it through email. Thank you.